This machine reshaped our world, but its journey to your driveway is a story of genius, chaos, and pure human audacity. Look around. Our cities, our lives, our very freedom. It's all been engineered by the automobile. But how did a clunky, steam-powered oddity become the heartbeat of modern civilization? Let's rewind. Way back. We've landed in the 1700s. No electricity, no internet, just wigs and wonder. And over there? An inventor is wrestling with a monstrous steam-powered cart. It's a hissing, clanking beast on wheels. In 1769, a Frenchman named Nicolas-Joseph Cugnot finally got his three-wheeled juggernaut to move under its own power. This car could manage a blistering 2 miles per hour. You could literally walk faster, and in a historic debut, it promptly smashed into a stone wall, inventing the car crash right alongside the car itself. People were stunned. A vehicle that moved without a horse? It seemed like pure magic or madness. The 19th century became a global inventor's playground, a chaotic race to build the ultimate self-propelled ride. And here's a shocker, electric cars were all the rage back in the 1800s. They were quiet, clean, and didn't require a dangerous hand crank. But their batteries died almost instantly. Sound familiar? The struggle was real, even then. Then, a German visionary named Karl Benz stepped in and changed everything. In 1886, he unveiled the Benz Patent-Motorwagen. It was a spindly three-wheeler with a single-cylinder engine, often called the first true automobile. But the real hero was his wife, Bertha. Without asking, she took it on the world's first long-distance road trip to prove its worth. She bought fuel from a pharmacy because gas stations didn't exist, and she even invented brake linings on the fly by asking a cobbler to nail leather onto the brakes. She wasn't just a passenger. She was the first automotive engineer and marketing executive rolled into one. Now, enter the 20th century, and a man with a monumental vision, Henry Ford. In 1908, Ford introduced the Model T. His goal? A car for the masses. It was simple, tough, and you could have it in any color as long as that color was black. Then, in 1913, he supercharged production with the moving assembly line. Instead of one team building a whole car, each person did one small job as the chassis moved past. The result? Cars became affordable. Millions of Model Ts hit the roads, and the horse and carriage were officially retired. With cars now everywhere, society had to scramble to catch up. We paved the world, invented traffic signals, and built gas stations. Cars themselves evolved from open carriages into enclosed cabins with heaters and, miraculously, radios. Now you could cruise and listen to music. Design became sleeker, shedding its horse-drawn past. This newfound freedom revolutionized life, letting people commute, vacation, and, well, teenagers discovered a new kind of privacy. Then the 1940s arrived, and the world went to war. Car factories stopped making sedans and started producing tanks, planes, and jeeps. The automobile industry literally went to battle. But from this conflict emerged new technologies that would later revolutionize peacetime cars. The 1950s exploded with optimism, rock and roll, and automotive flamboyance. Cars became rolling symbols of success and style. They grew enormous, draped in chrome, and featured tail fins so big they looked ready for liftoff. It was the era of the living room on wheels, complete with ashtrays for everyone. Drive-in theaters and diners turned the car into a central hub of social life. The car was no longer just a tool, it was a member of the family. But the 1960s roared in with a new demand: raw, unadulterated power. This was the decade of the muscle car. The Ford Mustang, Chevy Camaro, and Dodge Charger ruled the streets with thunderous V8 engines. Gas was cheap, and efficiency was an afterthought. Pop culture cemented the car as a star. James Bond's gadget-laden Aston Martin, the Batmobile, and Steve McQueen's legendary chase in Bullitt made cars the undisputed heroes. But this love affair with power came with a dark side: danger and pollution. A safety advocate named Ralph Nader published a bombshell book, Unsafe at Any Speed, exposing how many cars were basically death traps. Public outrage forced the introduction of mandatory seatbelts, headrests, and safer windshields. At the same time, cities were choking on smog. New laws led to the catalytic converter and the phase-out of toxic leaded gasoline. The party was over, but a new era of responsibility was beginning. Then, in the 1970s, a global oil crisis pulled the rug out from under everyone. Gas lines stretched for blocks. Suddenly, those gas-guzzling muscle cars seemed as sensible as a screen door on a submarine. Power plummeted. This opened the door for a new kind of car: the small, reliable, and efficient import. Japanese automakers like Toyota and Honda became heroes with models like the Civic and Corolla. They were humble, but they started every morning and sipped fuel. They proved that practicality could be just as cool as horsepower. The 1980s answered with a new kind of revolution: technology. The microchip arrived under the hood. Carburetors were out, electronic fuel injection was in. Dashboards went digital with computers and robotic voices. And who could forget the glorious and slightly ridiculous pop-up headlights? It was a decade defined by the time-traveling DeLorean and KITT from Knight Rider. We also got the minivan, the unglamorous yet utterly indispensable family hauler. The 1990s prioritized two things: safety and curves. Airbags became standard, creating a protective cocoon for passengers. Anti-lock brakes became common. The boxy designs of the past melted away into smooth, aerodynamic shapes. This was also the decade the SUV conquered suburbia, offering the promise of adventure, even if it never left the pavement. And then a quiet revolution began with an odd-looking car from Toyota, the Prius. Launched in 1997, this hybrid was slow but sipped fuel so sparingly it felt like it ran on good intentions. It was the start of a green movement that would soon sweep the globe. The 2000s brought us into the connected age. GPS navigation meant your car could give you directions and then judge you when you took a wrong turn. Bluetooth and iPods made CDs obsolete. Cars also became more reliable, easily lasting over 100,000 miles. The era of more is more was in full swing, fueled by shows like Pimp My Ride and the Fast and Furious franchise, which inspired a generation to modify their rides. And this brings us to today, the era of the smartphone on wheels. Electric vehicles led by Tesla are no longer niche. They're high-performance luxury machines, and the car is gaining a brain. Self-driving technology is being refined, turning science fiction into our daily reality. We're teaching cars to see, think, and drive. The journey is far from over. From a shaky steam cart to a silent, intelligent companion, the automobile's story is a mirror of our own ambition. So next time you buckle up, remember the incredible, chaotic, and brilliant journey of the machine you're driving. And if you enjoyed this ride through history, please show some love and like this video to support the channel Winds of Thought. Where do you think cars will go next?